Hi, my friends and family. My name's Trey, and today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about equanimity, ending the power differential of socially planned obsolescence. The power of equality, not yet what it ought to be. Equanimity, ending the power differential of socially planned obsolescence from within. What is a power differential? Well, George Carlin said, it's a big club and you ain't in it. The shrinking oligarchy of unelected, self-imposed planetary would-be leaders, kings, and takers have for 1,000,000 years grown their wealth and power through secrecy and the practice of black magic rituals and holographic coercion-based mind control, with the usage of in more recent centuries nearly constant wars, threats, coercion, and psyops of every ridiculous sort, from the most extreme to the most subtle. I am the grandson of a 33-degree Freemason existing in a tent even after 500 videos explaining healing and exposing the lies. Why? Why would I do that? And CNPD, family enmeshment, and codependency through deadly physical illness that I considered to be shaman's disease, that very intensely challenging to fully get rid of, but I've mastered how to minimize it. It's more than one deadly illness, and so, excuse me, I put on my shoes, and they need my feet need the sole, and so it reminds me of this YouTube video I saw years ago, and it was about how if you're from a wealthy family, they teach you how to make money, and if you're not, they'll teach you how to be a slave, Hypocritically, I was coerced that I needed dependency, which was a lie, to infantilize and dehumanize me and get me out of the loop of this, especially during this time of ascension. But I am adamant about the principle of UTAT till it's only us. That's right. UTAT till there is only oneness, aware humanity. How can I fit in with the profound, or mostly just that? How can I fit in with the profoundly sick slavery-based society if I am not in the club of rulers? Especially if I'm the grandson of a 33-degree, unwilling to perform black magic, drink blood, or sacrifice others and rule over other humans as a pseudo-happy energy vampire, or Luciferian, archontic, false self, so-called king. Why would I take as much as I can from the devil in a harmless way and be unwilling to participate in the black magic? Well, it's obvious. Well, Mark Passio did a whole video series about the Wizard of Oz, and the Wizard of Oz it does have a lot of disclosure in it, and it is a really wonderful, if you watch it again from the perspective of disclosure. And so, the little man in the back, convincing you that he's this powerful ruler. And so the power differential is this trickery, this a group of little men, decreasing in numbers over the years. I think something like 180 different media corporations were running network on the networks when I was born, and it's down to 6 who are all in the club, as George Carlin calls it now. And so, as well as how could I be unwilling to participate in all that and expose it, as well as be unwilling to be a wage or box slave, and also not fully healed, and not, I'm on my astrocartographical Chiron line here in Santa Cruz, so that's how it goes. I can go through the majority of the rest of my shadow work, whip my archon's ass, and become a professional, but old habits are hard to change. You understand? It's I'm the healer for the sick and wounded who are willing to begin to heal. It's because I have empathy. However, what if the old habits are known to the self to be derogatory planned obsolescence? Okay, what if I'm willing to, say, 96% of my subconscious mind be willing to admit whatever flaws I'm making are planned obsolescence? We can see the obvious ways the false rulers have done this through the greatly popularized and accelerated concept of sexual dysmorphia and hatred between the genders. While we're at it, sexual misery programming is what Lisa Renee calls it, leading to childhood's ending in voluntary surgical castration, for example, or the entire woke and politically correct ideologies, the phony BLM movement. And look at the funding for all of these. Who's funding it and why? The unabashedly virtuous and wonderful acceptance of the inherently pure narcissism of wage slavery and greedy landlords alike. That's right. If you're willing to work 3 or 4 jobs or make somebody be your slave, I mean, how many steps away is that from the old days? Not chattel, but house slaves. Just like all relationships with narcissists go through the cycles of abuse, of love bombing, discarding, breakups, and possibly hoovering, the entire sick, vicious loop. First they have first they treat you like a god for a while, then they have no respect at all for you a while, treat you like shit, accuse you of horrible shit, and then if you gray wall or stay away from them enough, or don't piss them off long enough, then they might try to hoover you. The entire average human life is a dark controller, or archontic or anti-life ET controlled human farm game, and a gain of permanent planned obsolescence. The entire average human life, if they're not awake, is an archontic, dark controller, anti-life, ET-controlled human farm game and gain of permanent planned obsolescence. Okay, from birth, you are required to take an ever-growing schedule of extremely toxic needle tech injections just to be a child citizen in the USA, for example, to attend Rockefeller's forced compulsory K-12 schooling, unless you're willing to do homeschooling or pay someone else to do it. You were mind controlled for about 20 years or so to think the point of life is to be a good worker, to take care of the box, put food on the table, or become a good professional ruler. Worry about taking care of your body, your wife or husband, and children's lives only. That's right. If you live in Charleston or Miami, New York City, California, Santa Cruz, LA, San Francisco, Seattle, you wouldn't have time to think about anyone else, would you? That's a joke. So you only have your whole life just to worry about taking care of your body, your wife or husband, and children's lives only, or in my case, just surviving. And to hell with everyone else. You have to compete with all of them for limited scraps of fiat paper and bits of food on the ground as your masters, the Elohim ETs, constantly feed on your energy, obedience, and compliance. That's right. It's their food. If they don't get you angry or upset, worried, or in anguish, depression, suicidal, homicidal, willing to take pharmaceuticals or go to war, then they're going to be happy if they can get you on your knees, whether it's through being a Bible thumper or through a neo-pagan, or a channeler and compliance. And I be truth, the native folks saying, we belong to the earth, it does not belong to us. So as long as if I be truth, the native folks saying we belong to the earth, it does not belong to us, I will never be welcomed by the Freemasons. Now, if I was extremely lucky enough to get the right lawyer and right city council and right mayor of Santa Cruz, I could probably make this property legally mine. But then I reasoned I would have to pay the state of California about $600-700 a month property tax. So that's the reason why Bill Gates sent me that feed, and Newsom, they wanted me to see that feed to get my hopes up, only to find out that then I'd be beholden to them for being the caretaker of this property all these years. I'd be beholden to them for that. So if I tell you Christ is within and the gods in the sky only use you as food and energy, unless I publish books, have a website, or become very charismatic, it's not going to be a very popular thing to say to people. The techie big boys will gladly minimize this. The alphabet, CIA, NSA, censors, 150 censors, and the algorithm will be happy to minimize this in the feed. So if Alphabet will only give videos made in a legal box, hundreds of views, it's the only time it seems they've allowed me to have hundreds of views. I comply with the CIA in censoring myself, but it seems that only when actually no, they've let a few of the videos I made out here get to 99. I'm talking about after I got shadow banned. They took their hand off the ban. They took their hand off the censor ban, or one of the kinder agents, 2 or 3 shifts. They took their hand off the button, and I started getting hundreds of views again. So, or it could be my narcissism. So, if every hero collective has a predatory narcissist in charge, then it ain't gonna be much effective rescue. That's right, because they're only going to be thinking about them, man. They're only going to be looking at that mirror image, thinking about the little black hole in the middle. If geoengineering isn't stopped and criminalized, any town could be the next Asheville or Lahaina. If the system of checks and balances is only in effect for the poor and the working class, so to speak, and openly transparent, the elites can do anything they want. Because a friend of mine that I think passed on, he said activists don't like it when they discover that there's California state judges in the Hells Angels, but there's nothing they can do about it. The elites can do anything they want, kill or destroy or take over anyone or anything they want. If they're weak, if that person's psychologically, spiritually weak, with the magnificent power of 0-point energy, free energy, slave labor, adrenochrome, direct energy weapons, the false gods are able to destroy the whole earth, skies, and all human bodies. They're able to make it all go goodbye-bye with no repercussion, or so they think. They can bounce the karma. Where does that lead our species? Well, as Tyler of the Journey to Truth podcast says, they shoot them in their foot. They shoot with every step of the way, they shoot themselves in the foot. So, smash their psyops from within. Even if they're checking out me making this video right now, it's fine. Because the authority of the Holy Ghost is within every sovereign soul who respects harmlessness. I was born on Turtle Island. I've been in this town for 20 years. I've been in this place long enough for this to be legally mine. If I'm willing to pay the state of California a lot of money, and but maybe not. Maybe it has to be a building or some stipulation, you know. Anyways, so open your mind. That's how you smash their psyops. Is you question reality, you discern, you think about things, you know. Stop and think before you react to things. Okay? With discernment, humans can learn to notice how, as Sean Bond says, the dark side stole all of their power. How many California landlords, for example, are the descendants of conquistadores? Making sure the residents of this beautiful cold water paradise remain financial slaves. I made up this statement years ago that when the conquistadores, insisted everyone here had to be Catholic, or they cut off their heads and took their women and crops and property, that it was like the old school mafia of California. Their game was the old school Catholic pirate, conquistador mafias. Their game was, take it all, and then eventually it was charged 2 or 3 times more money than you pay other places for stuff. So that was my old two-liner about the California mafia pirates. How many humans even have the courage to admit it is a sign of fake weather or sprayed storms when the nucleated ice and aluminum vapor clouds make it 20 degrees cooler than the temperature really is? The fact that Klaus Schwab wants universal basic income ought to scare me into autonomy and go purchase a car right now, since they're definitely recording me making this video with their airplane. So since it began in Atlantis with Lucifer's rebellion, like 250,000 years ago, leading to the formation of the Brotherhood of the Snakes, the Jewish, or maybe 1 million years ago was the beginning, the Jewish and Catholic rituals of fear-based and bloody control of all sorts, the Illuminati's creation of Hollywood. Holly is the wood used in the magic wands to the extremely well orchestrated attempted transformation or takedown of all humanity in 2020, with all of the things we saw, the lockdown occur being greatly organized by the Council on Foreign Relations, the secret societies, false kings, and chosen wardens' takeover plans. I mean, and they admit in their books, Rockefeller's lockstep plan of 2010, Klaus Schwab's, Fourth Industrial Revolution. He's published books about all this stuff, their goals and visions for the future of the earth, and their goals, visions, and purpose has been all laid out. They've all laid it out, okay? For example, Event 201 was a huge red flag saying, warning, Loser 4 and his billionaire slaves think they can bounce karma by announcing their totalitarianism plans as benevolent, right? Well, guess what? Postmodernism is. Postmodernism is not a morally repugnant, retarded way to use anti-philosophy to destroy souls, if they don't even believe they have a soul to begin with. I mean, they're not going to be afraid to do it if they don't even believe that the soul exists. if they are post-human. That's what some of these fools have, a post-human philosophy around here. So Humans 2.0 is the logical end. It's their wet dream they've had openly for years, since Creutzwell, and the end of the sycophantic sickness of transhumanism, not the beginning, because it's not going to work. The experiment's going to have it's already had horrible, tragic results. All poorly designed objects, from cars, small gadgets, genetically modified organism farms, GMO farms of all sort, weather weaponry, to the unplugging of human DNA, to forcing us to take in all these needles as an 8-year-old, which I think might have caused me to have autism to some degree, to the unplugging of human DNA to make our species idiotic, sick, short-living batteries for our slave master imposed junior gods. Well, guess what, folks? Christ Sophia is the original creator, and she is truly within us all, at least a tiny bit, like it or not. She gave us the awesome gift of free will, but she also allows all beings to have free will. However, they must obey one law, the law of non-interference. We are at the point of the second coming of Christ, which is, ironically, the end of God's bloody million years of reigning through torture, the junior gods, the self-imposed patriarchal gods, the archons, Lucifer, the dark side, because the Anunnaki are not our original real gods. They are master tinkerers. They are the builders. The demiurge means builder. They're the builders of this world, the matrix, the slave-based matrix with all its beauty and terror and violence. As David Icke named his book, humanity, get off your knees. Do not supplicate. Pray to and beg your false masters who only want you for loosh and blood. It pained me so much to sit to next to a friend of mine last night, because his message at the end of the meeting was, pray to God and have a relationship with God. My scalp started getting itchy, like I had headlights or bugs. And the reason why is because he was crawling with the spirit of, now I see his issue is that the angry Yahweh collective, but he's a good man. He's a powerful activist, but just believing in the patriarchal God, and the distance between him and it is what creates a lot of the anger. It magnifies it, really. So do not supplicate, pray to, and beg your false masters who only want to use you for loose and blood, because the real Christ is within us all, in actuality. The best they can do is, if you get on your knees and beg God, the best they could do is torture you more subtly by spoiling you or giving you false powers. That's what happens in narcissistic personality disorder. If you're high on the scale of NPD, the voices of the archons convince you that you are the magnificent God and a black hole. Okay. By spoiling you or by giving you false powers over others. Praying to Father God as begging, thy will be done. Thank you, sir. May I have another? More hell on earth, please. Well, guess what, folks? We need to rejoice, because the age of secrecy ruling over us is over. Aquarius represents this, the light of the real light of full transparency and awareness, of full equanimity, the light of the real Christ, Christos, the real original mother, father, androgynous, divine light of the original creator. which has no hierarchy. It gave us all free will. Regardless of history, wealth, privileges, hierarchy, or rank, the law of non-interference will be once again honored sooner or later. I'm not going to a FEMA camp. Only a few more years at the most of fake cold days and sacred towns getting pulverized by direct energy weapons of all sorts, and artificial weather, and steered storms taking out sacred, respectful cities. The fact is, the power differentials are built and sustained in the inverted, luciferic, narcissist, false reality of the black hole beings that designed it with their mastery of mind control over 3D idiots. God wants a dystopia, okay, because they want the loosh. They want a human farm. They want us to die young. They want us to be stupid. They made all the computers and cell phones blue light screens, only blue light. Why? Because that's the most addictive and cancerous. The golden rule is much closer to the truth. The reason why the United Nations and the WHO has been able to get this far in implementing their control schemes is by using the words sustainable, woke, and pretending to hold accountability, respect, and equal rights when they are only about rights for the rulers, okay, obviously. So the imposed space between you, this is really important. The imposed space between you and the Creator is the biggest false power differential there ever was and ever will and ever could be, because she is truly within all beings. So if you believe in any exoteric religions, you're giving your power over probably to the dark beings. Humanity is a species finally being born after we've been used as cows and child hookers and loose drinks for 1 million years. Gradually more and more to the point where it is now, to the point where we've been harvested on so many different levels, forced to have our memories wiped and be reincarnated into the human farm. But all of that is almost over, because this internet UTAT means that by learning how to discern the truth of our history, even the Cliff's Notes version I've given you now and the future, the timeless now and the future, even some of the real history, for example, we no longer believe the lies of the Bloody Victor's books, because we have other books, because we've read other accounts that actually expose more of what might have actually happened. And exposing the criminality of the 1%, the robber baron class throughout history, we discover they have no legitimate right to rule. In the unhijacked portion of the disclosure movement, we learn slavery to utility corporations is a key reason we don't all have 0-point hover cars and totally free energy now. Because they need that money, baby. The reason why we don't have 0-point hover cars already. Shirley MacLaine said it in like a 1981 talk show interview. She admitted that's why they don't admit ETs exist, because the ETs gave them 0-point energy, and they want their utilities money, man. It's all obvious. So, as we learn the extreme pathology and vast narcissistic personality disordered abuse, and probably all hierarchies and control, and certainly in all bloody secret society control structures, we can see through the loops of lies, the mind-controlled mantras of their false, inverted vampiric reality. This, us and them. 1% versus the 99%, or as Vandana Shiva elegantly called her book, the oneness versus the 1%. This double world dual reality is over. But the only way we end it is from within. You end duality from within, from finding peace within your heart and your body, mind, spirit. Overcoming the narcissist within. Remembering empathy and compassion for others. Destroying hierarchy through spontaneity, through friendliness, through unexpected, through having respect rather than blowing up when shit hits the fan, if you can. We can once again work and play with others in equal respect. Knowing the real original creator has full respect. She gave us free will. We stop praying to our slave masters. Okay? You know, humanity as a general whole starts to realize dogma is filthy. Dog is the opposite of inversion of God for a reason, because they're beings that are only in the first three chakras. They're devoted to physicality and, emotionality. So sentimentality and control, and codependency. So we stop praying to our slave masters, knowing the real God really is loving. You don't have to give your energy to these violent gods just because they coerced it all away from you. Knowing the real God, or Goddess, the sacred Christ, divine Christ Gnosis, Christ Sophia, really is loving, having given us free will, we begin to quit our addiction to supplicating, trauma bonding. Even the most courageous Jewish friends we have online, especially, are already over their race's ancient Stockholm syndrome. They're helping us share the truth, the awareness to everyone on planet Earth. And they're using their position of chosen ones, their degrees and media positions. There's a few of them, using their, there's a few people in every race, at least, in society, bringing the truth and clarity. Some of them even have equanimity. When we see the Babylon, the 3D materialism, and even our bodies, minds, and souls and lifetimes were designed, or redesigned, unplugged, co-opted, and used by Lucifer and his beings, and the hell know him, to be short, painful, loose drips, we can choose to become harmless. You really have the courage. Choose to become respectful junior God co-creators ourselves in communities. But only if we can, think and discern and expand our lives out of these ego traps. Only if I get over this, mentation of, the CNPD and hero narcissist having to treat me, and also my tendency of Mercury and Capricorn retrograde of keeping people at arm's length. I've got to get over that shit. So we have to do the shadow work. We have to get over these ego traps. We are remembering and relearning how to stay strong and healthy and live in equal respect, despite the atrocity of the piling on of seemingly endless invisible weaponry, with the escalation of hot war in the Middle East once again, by knowing unequivocally all war is illegitimate. Because just like racism, war and racism stem from these self-imposed gods, the ones I call the junior gods, the Anunnaki, the genetic master tinkerers that set up the matrix, okay? All war, from my opinion, is brought by the dark ET races. All war and racism is illegitimate to the disciplined, respectful God being that lives in our heart, Christ Sophia. The clarity of Aquarian thought, in equanimity, all false power differentials and planned obsolescence plans are revealed and resolved to find the eternal divine human Christ race in a sacred planet, finally learning to remodel its big prison system right as it's getting built. Like Damian Marley, he purchased a Northern California big abandoned empty penitentiary prison and turned it into a cannabis facility. One love is action, sang Natalie Wise. And so, one love is an action, yeah. If you enjoyed this content, if you haven't already, make sure you click subscribe for more videos. Give me a thumbs up if you liked it. And let me know what you thought. If you can censor yourself like a good boy or girl, then put a comment on YouTube. If not, you can visit me on comment on my videos at Rumble, and it's more likely to be the least censored at Odyssey.com, where I go a little bit further into the dark techniques that are used to control you against your will unknowingly. Anyways, give thanks for such a beautiful day in the neighborhood. If it's beautiful or if it's ugly, give thanks to the next beautiful day in your neighborhood. And if you have the courage, my family, create a great one.